Hello friends and welcome. Today I want to talk about something that came up in a coaching session. It's a little bit of another game theory test for you guys. What should you do, that kind of thing. Now let's pause for here real quick. So Mars was kind of in a 2v1 lane here. Pudge has kind of come in and out. And so because of that, although Clinks is slightly ahead of net worth, Mars has hit level 6 first. And Clinks level 5, you got a position 5 Veno here. So with that in mind, what would you do if you were on either side of this game? If you're the Veno and Clinks, or if you're the Mars, and I'm not so worried about the Pudge, but you can think about him too if you want. It's mainly these three heroes I'm concerned about. So if you want to pause here and decide for yourself what you think should happen, go ahead, but I'm going to go and tell you now. So I'm going to let this play out and tell you guys that Clinks makes the correct decision to eventually get out of here. He realizes he can die very easily, and so he's just going to go jungle, and I would say that is the correct decision for Clinks. We're not going to worry about him anymore. Now, Venomancer over here also makes the correct decision. He is going to hold this tower as long as he can with his life. He's an excellent hero for this, and while I talk, I'm just going to leave this up here. There's a couple other people who can do this. You see he dies right there. It doesn't matter. He's a position 5. At 6.5 minutes, that's roughly where we started, and we said, okay, Clinks has to leave the lane. Usually what that means is that the offlane should now take this tower incredibly quickly. Now I'm going to keep this going, and we'll see how long this tower stays alive because of what Venomancer does. Really, that tower... okay, ignore that mess up, guys. But it doesn't really matter. It wouldn't have changed the thing. Usually this tower should fall within like 1 or 2 minutes of the carry abandoning the lane. But certain heroes like Venomancer, Treant, Caudle, they are exceptionally good at defending the safe lane tower. Now, technically, anyone with wave clear can also defend the tower quite well. Jakiro, Lina, you get a max Q Shadow Shaman, things like that. But those heroes are much more susceptible to being dove and killed, kind of like this happening right here. But you notice it's so hard because of all these plague wards and then rotations that this tower is still healthy. We're approaching 5 minutes since Clinks left this lane, and the off lane has not been able to take this tower. Not for lack of trying, but Venomancer is just really good at defending it. Now, if you're not sure why that's so good for Venomancer, he's just a position 5. If he dies, whatever, he was a position 5 support. But as long as he's been holding this tower, he's been getting roughly the same farm as Mars, because he kills 1 creep wave, Mars kills 1 creep wave. If Mars denies a couple creeps, then Venomancer doesn't care. He was a position 5. He doesn't need equal farm. He's so rich getting like 2 last hits per wave. That's far more farm than most position 5s usually get. Now finally coming up here, the tower does start to take a lot more damage, and it'll eventually fall here at 13 minutes. That is not important to us though. Now going back in time, this is about when Clinks left the lane, and Venomancer, in my opinion, did the correct thing. He held this tower for quite a long time, and I'd say that is exactly what he should do. If you're going to play Venomancer support, this is kind of your game plan. Now, if you were the off lane, how should you react? Because honestly, it's really tough to take the tower against a Venomancer, but that doesn't mean you can just sit here and stalemate. I just said this was really good for Venomancer, so if you're the off lane, it's like, why should I just keep stalemating here for 10 minutes? Is that any good? Not really. So what can they do instead? You can pause here and think about it again if you want, but at a fundamental concept level, the offlaner is supposed to be doing more now as a position 5, right? They're supposed to be getting more farm. Usually, having impact, getting farm, that takes the form of taking the tower. But if that's not possible very quickly, maybe we saw like 10 minutes, a little less than that to take this tower. That's a bit long. So what can we do instead in that meantime that I still need to get more than this 5 support? I can't just trade waves here. I need to gank. I need to farm more. Like, what is the answer here? And what you can do is 2 things that are kind of the same thing, just on different sides. 1, cut the creep waves. If you cut the creep waves over here, you give yourself more time. When they meet over here, it's kind of slow. The creeps are hitting each other. Everyone knows where you are. You're in the lane. And then when you're done here, you have to like walk over this way, and they have time to react. But if you're over here as Mars, and in fact, let's go to the Radiance point of view. They see Mars cut the creeps here. They die really quickly. Maybe Mars drags him to the small camp, kills him there. You see him do that. And that's still good for Mars. He's now farming an extra camp than he was before. It's not just the waves. It's now a wave and a small camp. Venomancer's just getting a wave. So that's already kind of good for him. But there's another element to that, is that once you kill this wave and the small camp here, you're now out of sight. You're in the fog of war, and you're a bit closer to this jungle where the Clinks might be. Maybe he's over here. That's still fine, because maybe you need to go gank the mid lane. And guess what? When you're jungling, dragging creep waves from over here into the small camp, into the medium camps, farming him there, and then they know you're there, the creeps all die, where is he now? Is he just waiting for the next creep wave? Maybe. Is he suddenly running over to gank me? Maybe. I don't know. They have this fear, like, I don't know where Mars is, and I know he was actually kind of close to me. That doesn't happen if you stay in the lane only trading farm. That already isn't great, but we've explained that. But they also know you're over here. They see you in the lane, and the second you finish killing the creeps, they have lots of time. Because to walk all the way over here, that's an extra 10 seconds. And no matter what rank you are, someone disappearing, well, maybe not no matter what rank, but people disappearing for 10 seconds, you get suspicious, such that when they have to complete the rest of the journey, another 10, 15 seconds to gank, people have been well aware of it the whole time. Whereas if you start here, they see you in the jungle, they get distracted with the last hit or two, suddenly they realize, oh, I don't know where Mars went, like, where did he go? You're already halfway here, boom, you finish the gank, something like that. Or it turns out you were just waiting here for the farm, but you applied that mental damage to the mid laner, making him scared, making him miss a couple last hits because he had to back up a little bit to play safe until he sees Mars again. You're having impact more than just standing here. Now you can also, if you wait for the creeps to come here, they meet every 30 seconds, right? The next one is about to spawn here. You got one here, and then the next wave is spawning here. So if you always just wait and farm here, kind of by the time you kill the creeps, the next creep waves meet, and you're like always stuck here if you're just trying to auto-attacking or just going for last hits. So you really need to shove the wave in and then move around and get over here. So it's okay to use spells, buy a couple of mangoes, clarities, whatever you need to sustain this, but you need to be able to kill at least one creep wave quickly and then make your way over here. The other benefit of this whole game plan is that when you start cutting the creep wave, either over here or like further down, you kill the creep wave, like, okay, let's look at this one. So you intercept this creep wave here, you kill them, right? It's now 7:45. You still have another 15 seconds for the next creep wave to spawn here, and then they wouldn't meet here till about 8:30. And that's why if you kill this creep wave right now, it's 7:45, let's say Mars is over here, he suddenly has 45 seconds to do anything. He can walk to the mid lane we talked about, maybe does something crazy, smokes all the way to the top lane. He has time to do that. He could teleport, wrap around trees, he could teleport over here, smoke, wrap around the mid lane. He has so many options because he has 45 seconds to work with now because he cut this creep wave, probably had to use a spell or two. It's okay, you would buy the mana regen ahead of time to be able to do so. But if you wait here, the creeps meet at, and in fact, let's just go back to when they meet. So they kind of meet around 7:30, right? They got distracted here, get killing that Venomancer, that's fine. But you notice he's not using spells here, he's just kind of auto-attacking. And by the time this creep wave dies, oh look, the next one. Well, I don't want to miss a whole wave of farm, right? So now I got to sit here and I got to last hit. Guess what? The next creep wave is just going to meet at the same place, the same time, same deal. So at some point, you need to just burst the creep wave, maybe even miss a couple last hits. Take one or two that you can if you don't want to use spells, and then start running over to meet the next creep wave. And you're going to sacrifice 2 creeps, but it's going to put you in the position to start cutting creep waves, start dragging to the camp, start applying that mental pressure to everyone. You can do the exact same thing, but this way. So we don't want to trade farm for farm with the Venomancer, one wave for one wave. What if you start doing pulls? So like Mars comes up here, does this pull. The Venomancer's creep wave, it would walk up. Mars kills the creep wave here, returns to this pull. Venomancer, Treant Protector, Coddle, those kind of heroes, they're very good at defending the tower under here. And many position 5s are good at defending the tower under the tower. If you start dragging creep equilibrium over here, or in our first example over here, they don't like dealing with that because that pulls them out of the tower and that puts them in far more danger. So by doing a pull, yes, we're not really taking this tower anymore, but guess what? You weren't taking this tower anyways, so we still need to get ahead as this Mars. So by doing a pull, he's now farming this camp That's an extra camp he wasn't getting before, and denying a couple creeps from the Venomancer, and he's still getting the full wave. When it pulls up here, he comes over, he farms that wave. So he's got the wave and a camp and denying stuff. That's a lot more than just trading one wave for one wave. And you can even do a mix of these two things, like doing these pulls, dragging creep waves, but you have to do something as the Mars to not just be doing the exact same thing as the Venomancer, because that's a win for the Venomancer. You can't go even with the position 5 if you're the position 3 who's supposed to be having high impact. That's probably a little more relevant for offlane players, I'm not gonna lie. If you're a support, you're very happy doing this kind of thing, and if you see the Mars or whatever offlane just like standing here with you for a really long time, that's really good. You don't need to feel like you have to go somewhere else. You're happy to keep stalling this out. Now, if he starts doing this like farming other stuff, that's where you're like, ugh, he's kind of doing the right thing. What can I do? And it's not really easy to do anything. That's why as the offlaner, you need to do these kind of things, because the position 5, you go out too far and then you die, and then you have to TP back, and then it's like, oh wait, as a Venomancer or Treant Coddle, I need to be here preemptively for the creep wave to defend it. If I have to TP in after it's already here, it's too late. And so you don't really have the freedom to move over. Like maybe you can do a small camp pull. That's kind of your best thing. Maybe you have time to like do a stack depending what the enemy's doing. But kind of your best bet, if they start cutting the creep wave a lot, you can counter it by trying to place a ward somewhere in this area so your mid knows if he's rotating over or just farming. You can also block some of your own camps if you feel like Axe is a really bad offender of this. Well, it's good for Axe, who can farm the jungle and the creeps very quickly. Something like Mars would not be able to do it as quickly. It's just too mana intensive. But having a ward or blocking these camps would be kind of one way to respond to that as a position 5, and then continue to defend this tower as long as possible. But you don't have to always stay down here. At some point, you have to realize, like, I can only defend this so long, so maybe it's better to come up here. That's a judgment call you need to make depending how well your carry is farming. If he's getting a lot of farm in the jungle, maybe you're happy to delay this for a minute. You're the late game team. You're just looking to stall it out. If you are the early game team, maybe this is okay for you to do. Maybe you have to go somewhere else. I don't know, guys. We could start getting into a bunch of possibilities, but that's going to drag the video on really far. So we've already covered the main topic I wanted to talk about, and I hope that helped you guys. Let me know. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.